All right, welcome to the Witchy Weather Report. How are we feeling, everybody? It's me, Rory, from Sassafras Tarot. I see that my phone is moving itself. Okay, I'm a little crooked today. You're just going to have to live with it. So, okay. How are we feeling? It's Saturday. It's 2 days after the big new moon / eclipse in Gemini. Is anyone else feeling a little friggin' wacky? that's my incredibly grown-up description of how I feel about the eclipse. Friggin' wacky. Do you also feel friggin' wacky? Let me know. Inquiring minds want to know. As always, I'm going to share this witchy weather report in 1 or 2 places while we gather a couple of viewers. Hey, Ondine, how you doing? Welcome to the witchy weather report. How are we all feeling? I will be reading from the Dragon Tarot today because, as I mentioned a minute ago, but I'm not sure if anyone had joined yet, this new moon / eclipse in Gemini has got me feeling friggin' wacky. That's the code word for today, friends. Friggin' wacky. That's like today's word of the day. Cool. All right. I'm going to share this broadcast in 1 or 2 places. Hey, Mary Jane. So good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Trouble hearing again. Okay, leave and come back and let me know if it works. If it doesn't, let me know that too. I don't know what's up with Insta. All right. Let's go. Just going to share this on the Spacebooks. I didn't make an event this time, I don't think. Because I'm feeling, as I mentioned before, a little friggin' wacky from the eclipse new moon. You're back. Can you hear okay? Let me know. All right. Of course, me telling you, let me know if you can hear okay, doesn't work if you can't hear okay. What can you do? That's broadcasting for you. All right. Let me share this broadcast on this Facebook that we all share. Let's see. So I'm reading today from the Dragon Tarot. There was a couple different Dragon Tarots out there. So for disambiguation, this is the one by Peter Donaldson and Peter Prakownik. I think that's how you say it. Maybe not. Maybe it's one of those, Russian or Polish names where letters don't mean what you think. Maybe it's like Prakovnik. I'm not sure. That sounds righter somehow, but I could be wrong. Anyway, reading from the Dragon Tarot. It's a beautiful deck. It's my first deck that I really got serious about when I was a teenager and is still very near and dear to my heart. Oh, that's so... I'm glad that you figured it out, but that's so annoying. Ondine says, Instagram is so weird. If I don't allow autoplay on ads, I can't hear stuff I want to hear. I have noticed that too. It's like all or nothing. I see that on Facebook too. Like if I'm scrolling on my timeline, that turning on or off a video, the audio, is for everything. Forever and ever, amen. Yeah, it's annoying. So, we just had a new moon. We also are in the middle. I don't know if you've joined the manifesting challenge yet, because as promised, I have started a manifesting challenge. I kicked it off on Wednesday, which was the day before the new moon. And this is less of a formal like class type of situation and more like we all show up and compare notes and help each other. And I'm really excited about it. The live stream on Wednesday was really cool. People were sharing their different ideas for what they want to manifest, how they want to commit to it. Some of the standouts that were really nice to me is someone was going after a job, and the way they did their commitment ceremony, like ritual at the beginning of the challenge, was to write themselves a job offer letter. I love it. So I think that's really neat. I know a couple other people said their rituals were more journaling, lighting a candle, doing tarot, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. If you don't know what I'm talking about and you're not in on the manifesting challenge, it's right here on this page, wherever you're watching, whether it's Insta, Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook. It went all the places. So take a look and see that kickoff video when you get a chance, because you can join. It's not too late. It's absolutely not too late to join. I would love to have you join the challenge. Hey Judith, how you doing? I see you dropping a cat in the chat. Hey Grayson, how are you? I see we've already got some chats. Some cats, or unless I'm speaking French, then I said it right. All right. So we had a new moon. We kicked off the manifesting challenge, and as I mentioned at the very beginning of the broadcast, the new moon / eclipse in Gemini is making me feel friggin' wacky. Friggin' wacky is my official descriptor for this new moon / eclipse in Gemini. I welcome you to share your own experiences. How have you been doing since the new moon / solar eclipse this past Thursday? How have things been feeling? Have you felt any changes or shifts? Have you felt a need to start fresh in any areas of your life? Let me know. I want to know. I want to know everyone else's experience, because mine, as I mentioned, is friggin' wacky. Which might have to do with it being the summer and me just being a very busy person during the summer. I definitely am have a tendency to overschedule myself this time of year. It's very easy to do so and hard not to do so. But, oh man. Big feels. Big feels. Andine says, mais oui. And Judith says, donnez-moi la chatte. Judith says, that's because you're a Virgo, Rory Kelly. I am a Virgo. I know Gemini and Virgo are both ruled by Mercury. So that's a thing that's interesting. And I do feel like I've really been feeling this lately, especially with my friend Diggy Cat, who's a Gemini, that like in some ways we're very similar. I do feel that way. I feel like Geminis are actually like in some ways like almost double Virgo. Like it's Virgo, but there's just two of you in one head. I don't know. Please don't listen to me about astrology. I'm a tarot reader, not an astrologist. But there definitely is like big extrovert vibes. And of course, not every Gemini is an extrovert or anything like that. But they tend to be better at the peopling, better at the conversations. And me as a Virgo, like I'm always seeking my knowledge internally. I'm always like turning inward. The Hermit is our tarot card. So... and Geminis grow and learn through hearing a variety of perspectives and like finding the confluence there. And I think that's really interesting. And I can't relate as a Virgo. I'm just like, get away from me. I need to process. Judith says, oh, thank you. Judith is like, I is an astrologer. Yes, you is. Judith says, all the Gemini shit is in my 7th house, conjuncting my moon and Jupiter and trining all my stuff. All your stuff is trined. Rocking the Gemini. So how do you feel, Judith? How are you affected by this Gemini new moon? Andine is saying, eclipse in Gemini with Mercury and Gatorade equals... I agree. Mary Jane says, I'm a Virgo too, and this week focus has been crap, which makes this Virgo nuts. Yes, I feel the same way. I was just telling my friends, I have a little accountability group that meets on Saturday mornings, a couple hours before the Witchy weather report, and I was just saying, like, I feel completely unfocused. I think I am actually, like, getting things done and being productive. I just can't tell, because I feel, as I mentioned before, friggin' wacky. That is my catchphrase for this solar eclipse. A new moon in Gemini, that's my really hot astrological take. It's friggin' wacky. Thank you, Judith. Judith says, hugs to the Virgos. We need it. Actually, though, like, give us, like, socially distanced, respectful hugs, because that's how we roll. All right, let me pull a card for us all before we go off the deep end. I do just want to say real quick, though, how many of us, who's in the manifesting challenge with me? I kicked off the manifesting challenge. I know I saw some of you on that live stream on Wednesday. Who's in the manifesting challenge with me, and how is your manifesting going? I just wanted to ask that. And I'm going to make a personal confession. I gave everyone a lecture on Wednesday about how you have to pick one thing to manifest. And I'm going to be real honest with you, because I've encouraged us all to be honest. I'm stuck at step 1. I'm stuck at step 1 because during the manifesting call, I had said, oh, I'm going to manifest more patrons. A little bit because I was like, I need to pick something to manifest. Oh my God. And then the next day I had like a little like, is that what I need to manifest, or do I need to manifest self-care? I'm always doing these like businessy manifestations and I never take care of my home and my body, and maybe I should manifest something about my home or my body. And then the third day I was like, I'm nuts. This is friggin' wacky. What I really need to manifest is more free time. And then this morning I woke up and I was like, that's terrifying, Rory. There are a lot of very bad ways that more free time could be in your life. Maybe that's not what you want. So all this is to say, I don't know. I think where I've arrived at right now in my life, and I haven't done my commitment ceremony yet as a result. I have not done my new moon ritual because I'm not exactly sure what my intention should be, because the eclipse has me feeling friggin' wacky. At this point, I think I just might want to manifest grace. I might just want to manifest grace and luck for things to move along at a pace that feels natural and good and healthy. If that's even possible, that might be the thing I manifest. I'll let you know. Grayson says, I've already fallen off the manifesting wagon. Grayson, I'm not even on it yet. I'm running to catch up. You please, don't worry. You have time. The manifesting wagon is going and I'm like, I'm like those possum, gifs where the possum is just like, In fact, that is my current desktop background. I have a picture of a possum, 2 possums on a branch, and one of them is like, and the other one is like, also. And that's how I feel, which actually I think that might be the perfect visual expression of a solar eclipse in Gemini. Wow. Mary Jane says, oh yeah, sensory overload last weekend in TJ Maxx. So many people, I had to run away. I know what you mean. I feel like I'm already an introvert. I already can get a little stressed around crowds. I remember having a gig, one of the first really nice warm weekends, and the place was packed. And it was a busier place than I had been in over a year. And I was like, I need to take a walk. All right, I've been attempting to shuffle while we talk. Judith says, Manifesting Possum loves you. Thank you, Manifesting Possum. Ondine says, agreed and understood. I wish to manifest more financial abundance for this house, along with growing my music following. I love it. I love both things. All right, I had a jumper while I was shuffling. That's our card for the week. Hang on just a moment. I have to bend down and get this. Hope you enjoyed that super awkward view of the top of my head. Okay. Knight of Swords. Oh, I'm relieved because we've been getting a lot of pages lately. And we're back. We've leveled back up to being knights. Oh my God. Is this what I think it is? You guys, Mr. Sassafras Tarot has brought me a cup of coffee. You want to come show off that beautiful shirt? Friends, if you're music fans, look, it's the new Shadow Work shirts. Look how good it looks on my incredibly good-looking husband. Thanks, sweetie. I am very, very lucky. I have been brought a surprise coffee. Didn't I just say I was going to manifest some grace? What a world. All right. So our card for the week is the Knight of Swords. Appropriate that we have swords in this very friggin' wacky Gemini time, because swords are about communication and learning through communication. It's about truth. And what does truth mean? And separating feelings from fact, and which doesn't mean devaluing one of them, by the way. I really want to be clear on that, because I think sometimes people are like, you have to celebrate feelings from fact. And there's a little bit of this, I'm going to say even a little patriarchal tinge of like, your feelings don't friggin' matter. What matters is the facts. And I have to tell you, like, our feelings color every piece of our experience every day, right? Our feelings absolutely matter. And identifying what our feelings and what our facts doesn't mean we're like, feelings. It means that we know which is which, so we can respond appropriately. Facts are ironclad, they're set in stone, so we have to, and at some level, adapt to them, right? We have to be willing to accept them in our lives. Feelings are equally important, though. Feelings like are behind so much of what we do and so much of how we project ourselves and so much of how we respond to the world, right? At the end of the day, you can have two very similar days. I know I've had this experience where on one day you wake up feeling really good and you just seem to feel sure of yourself and you feel confident, and you have kind of a boring, samey day, but you feel great at the end of the day. And you can have the same day in terms of facts, in terms of what happens to you on that day, right? But you wake up on the wrong side of the bed and you feel iffy and you're feeling like in your feelings, you know? And on that day, it's a horrible day. So our feelings affect everything because, not for nothing, life is about feeling good. I don't want to, I mean, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have negative feelings. You know that. I'm not a toxic positivity person, but we don't know what's at the end of this life. There are a lot of feelings, there are a lot of beliefs. I do know that this is the only time I get to be Rory Kelly for an indeterminate amount of years, you know, on this particular journey. And I'm committed to enjoying it. I'm committed to it being a good journey. So my feelings are a very big part of that. And I hope they're a big part of your journey too. Because what is enjoyment if not a feeling, right? Enjoyment's not a fact. Pardon me while I sip my coffee. Okay. Oh, Ondine says, how do I get on the t-shirt bandwagon? I haven't put it in the shop yet, just because I've been really busy. But I am going to be adding the Shadow Work t-shirts into the shop. And for anyone who pre-ordered, that's going to be going out with your CDs and or your vinyl. So I'm sorry, if you pre-ordered vinyl, I can send you the t-shirt early, and then you can just wait for the vinyl. So that's going to be going out in the next week or so. I have a big mailing I'm in the middle of putting together with CDs for everyone who did the crowdfunding thing. And also all of the deluxe stuff for people who ordered the deluxe CD and all of that, and the t-shirts. So if you pre-ordered, it's coming. If not, don't worry. It's going to be in the shop real soon. Anyway, sorry, my worlds are colliding, my music self and my tarot self. But you know what? It's all one wide avenue, right? It's all the same me. I was talking to someone earlier about how it's really all about me using my skills and my gifts to heal people and create connection and create, more feelings of empowerment. That's like what I feel my calling is on this planet. And I've been surprised in the last few years to discover that tarot has played such a big role in that. And Ondine says discernment. Yeah, big mood. Discernment, I think, is the name of the game for this friggin' wacky Gemini eclipse. It's about us learning discernment. It's about us learning that there are things that must be said, and that there are things that are worth just realizing and not vocalizing, because verbalizing them to the people around us might not have the same effect, right? For us, a phrase might be an epiphany that changes our lives, and for someone around us, if we say it out loud, it might sound like a complaint, it might sound like we're nagging them, it might sound like we're just, off the deep end. And that's not helpful, right? So some conversations are really important and need to be had, and sometimes we have to be thoughtful about how and when we communicate our ideas. Sometimes we have to sit with an idea. Of course, I'm a Virgo saying this, right? That's my favorite thing to do. Sometimes we have to sit with an idea and then, speak it when we can consider how it will impact others. Because the same ideas impact different people differently. Facts affect our feelings differently. So that's the balance that we have to strike this week. And the Knight of Swords indicates that we're going to be doing so with aplomb and with a little bit of messiness, but joyful messiness. You know what I mean? Knights, I love, I've been saying all year, big Knight energy in 2021, KNIGHT. And I've come to love it. Like, Knight energy is a little impulsive, but it's very like, we're gonna do this. Let's do this, everybody. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of excitement and enthusiasm. And so it doesn't always get done exactly the way you envision it, but it gets done with excitement and enthusiasm and with energy that no one else can bring to the mix. So that's what the Knight of Swords is about. We're learning in real time. We're learning discernment. We're learning the impact of our words upon others. We're learning how we feel about others' words and our own words, by the way. Like, listen to yourself a lot during this time. Listen to the words coming out of your mouth, because you may need to hear them. You know, you might be saying them and think, I need to get this person to understand this. And it might be that you need to get you to understand it. It's funny how that works sometimes. Again, very Virgo perspective, I know. We're learning in real time about our communication. And I encourage you to have a joyful light touch about this. You're not going to help but be invested because nights are always invested. It's always a quest. It's always a big deal with nights, which I can relate to. You can't help but be invested, but I encourage you to be lighthearted and joyful this week. To approach it as like, there's a lot of experiments happening this week, some with my knowledge and some without, and I'm learning. This is a week for learning and observing and seeing how things go. I had a gig yesterday, my first time playing in a new place, and I found myself very anxious about it. And I really haven't had that kind of pre-gig anxiety. It's like a very particular flavor of anxiety in a long time. Maybe since before 2020, because obviously 2020 didn't have as many gigs. And I made some changes in my life. I really decided I wanted to focus on the ones that felt good. And this was a new place, and I had some reasons to be concerned about how it would go. And I found myself sitting in the car beforehand, like really anxious and worried. And I committed to myself, after asking Aphrodite for a little grace, I committed to myself to approach the whole gig like a meditation, to approach it with a spirit of open-mindedness and watching and learning, rather than a spirit of like, oh gosh, is this going to be really, really tough, And I have to say it really made things easier for me. So I encourage you to approach things that way. Experience your experiences as a meditation this week. Consider that everything you're experiencing is important in the moment, but also not the end of the world in the moment. And a learning experience and something that you can grow with. Hey, Chaka, thank you so much for tuning in. Ondine says, I love your take on the energy. Your interpretations are so spot on. Thank you. I'm so grateful to hear that. It's really interesting because as a Virgo, I am one of these people who tends to be like, feelings, it's all about the facts, right? And I definitely like shame myself that way. So when I talk about facts and feelings, it's because I've learned it's like hard won for me. But I've learned that part of accessing intuition is really just playing around with ideas and being open to sharing them before you completely understand what it is that you're talking about. And that's been really helpful for me. And in a way, it's helped me access like the best parts of myself. I've learned that the wisest parts of myself are the parts that haven't had, an outline and an essay and time to prepare it. It's funny that way. Anyway. Thank you guys. Okay, I'm looking at some comments and I'm going to start pulling some cards for everybody. Oh, wow. Judith says, I got the Knight of Swords as a jumper this morning too. Wow. Big Knight of Swords energy. If you tuned in recently, this is our card for the week, Knight of Swords. We're learning about discernment and communication. And I didn't shuffle and pick it. It flew out of my deck at me. Like, actually, that's a graceful way of saying it. It's more like I'm shuffling and it went like, I was like, oh, jumper card. We'll read that one this week. That's really interesting that you got that as a jumper as well, Judith. Okay. Anna says, I'm here, meow. Hey, Anna, how are you? And Anna says, I'm so confused. Do I say it or do I shut up? Cave syndrome. I know what you mean. Yes, I know. I think it's like Schrodinger's sentence, right? You say it and you shut up. No, I think it's interesting, though. That's what we're learning. I think sometimes we'll say it, sometimes we'll shut up. Sometimes our choice will be right, sometimes it won't. But all of it will be learning. Oh my gosh, I love it. Grayson says, hey, everybody. I took the advice from Rory's card draw for me last week, and I got the job. Thanks, Rory. I love it. That makes me so happy to hear. In this line of work, you're always giving advice and you're always just kind of crossing your fingers and being like, oh, hope this works out. So it's so wonderful to hear this. Hey, Olivia. Hey, Artie. How are you doing? Thank you for tuning in. Okay, I've got definitely some cards to pull for all of you. I think Ondine was the first to drop a cat in the chat. Let me take a look. I'm going to find our first three on deck. If you would like me to pull a card for you, the secret code that we use around here on the Witchy Weather Report is dropping a cat emoji in the chat. And if for some reason you can't do that, if you can't get to an emoji keyboard, then just like say meow. That works too. And the reason we do that is because we get spammers. When someone says, "Can you pull a card for me?" Invariably, within minutes, there's a spammer. And the spammer pops into the comments and is like, "DM me, I'll do your cards." And it's like, who are you? Why do you spend your life doing this? Okay, let me scroll up here on the Instagrams. Take a look-see, because I know I have a couple of cats. Do. Oh no. It's like trying to leave a comment. No, I don't want to leave a comment. I just want to see them. Okay. Ondine, Mary Jane. Do I have any other cats on Insta? Oh, Ondine says, "Hey, Olivia and Artie." I love it. I love like I feel like it's a responsibility of me to like share the comments from Facebook to Instagram to YouTube, whatever. Okay. Ondine, Mary Jane, and Judith are the first on the bandwagon for cats, followed by Grayson. That's 4. That's all that'll fit in my head. Ondine, Mary Jane, Judith, Grayson. I see some more cats getting dropped. Don't worry. I will come for your cats when I'm ready. That sounds really dangerous. I'll come for your cats. She's taking crazy cat lady to a new extreme. Sorry, y'all. As I said, this Gemini eclipse has me feeling friggin' wacky. If anyone asks, that's the official thing. You can tell them Rory the Tarot Lady said it. What's up with this Gemini solar eclipse? Well, you can let them know that Rory's official diagnosis is it just makes things friggin' wacky. That's all you need to know. Okay, pulling a card for you now, Ondine. It was so good to see you the other day in person, even though it was only just for a few minutes. It's so nice to be seeing humans in person again. And even as it's a little overwhelming, because I'm definitely a super introvert and tend to get a little overwhelmed anyway this time of year, it's just so wonderful to get to see people. Even though that's how good it feels, you've managed to crack this introvert's hard candy shell exterior. All right, Ondine, here's your card for the week. Your card is a 10 of coins. I love this as a card because you're talking specifically about manifesting, building wealth, and especially for your home, for repairs and things like that that you need for your home. Well, the 10 of coins is a very auspicious card to get when that's something you're going after. And it suggests to you to look at your legacy, ancestral legacy, as well as like just the legacy of your life. And look at what has worked really well for you and what has not, because you have an opportunity at this time to build on what has worked well for you and to also draw on those resources. You may find that money stuff is really hard. I'm just going to say that right now. Money stuff is really hard, but you may find that you have resources other than just money that you have accumulated over the years through just navigating your life and being really practical and adaptable, which I know you are. You may find that there are resources you've accumulated over that time that maybe you haven't noticed, because that's how slow growth is, right? You don't always notice until you look back and you're like, oh, look at that. I'm a totally different person. You may find that you actually have resources that you can draw on to help you solve these problems in new creative ways. And that might be a little bit what this Gemini moon looks like for you, is reevaluating that information, your feelings, your facts about your situation, and perhaps finding some new wins, perhaps finding a fresh start in what is already there. And the 10 of coins absolutely, kind of affirms this, affirms that you have the resources at your disposal. It may not feel that way. And usually that just means that it's different than we think, right? Certainly under capitalism, there can be a real feeling of like the only resource that matters is money. And I fall prey to this type of thinking, because on the one hand, it is factual that we need to have a certain level of money to thrive and survive in this current paradigm that we all share, because money is how we get a roof over our head and money is how we get food and all of that. So it is factual that money is an important part of our lives. However, it's not the only resource that we have. And there are other resources we can cultivate that can lead to us having more money, or that can lead to us perhaps not needing to have as much money. For example, I'm thinking of like community, right? I'm thinking of time banks and skill shares where someone who's really good at something can help you do it in 20 minutes instead of it taking 8 hours of you tearing your hair out trying to figure it out, for example, right? I'm trying to think of the word of like community as a resource, and I'm sure it'll come to me as soon as the broadcast is over. But my point being, there are more resources to change your life than just money. And those resources, in some cases, can change your financial situation as well. So I think that's our path right now with the Knight of Swords and the Ten of Coins, is to look at the resources you have and like shuffle them around and, you know, like put them in a cup like Yahtzee and shuffle them around and throw them out and see if you can see anything new. See if you can see new ways of using what you already have, because you actually have significant resources at your fingertips, not the least of which is you and your accumulated wisdom, experience, and generosity. Mary Jane says, couple of significant things happening with photography. Frozen like a deer in headlights. What do I do next? And she also adds, at least they seem significant. I hear that imposter syndrome creeping in like, oh, well, maybe it's significant. I mean, it feels significant to me, but I don't know. It's significant. I'm here to tell you it's significant. I will pull a card for you around that, Mary Jane. But first, more caffeine. The more caffeinated I get, the better these readings will be. This is my first cup of coffee of the day, guys. Anna says, you, an introvert? Ha 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 ha. I genuinely can't tell if that's sarcasm or serious. Because to me, I think it's really obvious that I'm a super introvert. But I also know that there are people who think of me as a social butterfly. And I'm like, ha ha ha, no, I just have social anxiety and I try not to show it. Although I'm learning, actually. I say that very off the cuff. And I do deal with anxiety, and I think it's important for us to be upfront with these things and normalize them. But I'm learning that what I perceived as my thing, you know, of like, oh, I have social anxiety, I'm anxious in social situations, it might be different. And I'm learning that especially as the world is opening up, I'm getting to see my friends again and family. And I find that I'm enjoying myself socializing a lot more than I ever used to. And I think that a good chunk of my perceived social anxiety in years past was actually just good old-fashioned like overwhelm and fear of making the right impression. And I know that's like kind of that describes social anxiety, but I noticed when I started putting myself more exclusively in situations where I felt valued and started bailing on situations that made me feel like I had to prove something to other people, that I found it easier to socialize with the people that I love and care about. So really interesting. I guess I'm growing or whatever. Judith says, Rory Kelly, we are extroverted introverts. The extroverted part is learned behavior. Yes, I agree with that. I think I am an introvert who has, out of necessity and dedication, learned how to extrovert. Ondine says, I'm about to grab my third cup. Go for it. Go for it, girl. Yeah, and I think anyone can learn, you know, right? Anyone can learn to be good at spending time with themselves and be good company. And anyone can learn how to enjoy the company of others. But my personal definition for are you an introvert or extrovert or ambivert is one of the few areas in life in which I don't go both ways, is what recharges you. You know, what is it that fills your cup? And for me, it's downtime where it's just me, myself, and I, and kind of, you know, the things I do that make me feel like a human again is what recharges me. Even as much as I love spending time with people, I do it too much without downtime and I feel depleted. Mary Jane says, yes, lockdown lessons. Stop doing stuff I don't want to do, including events. Big mood. I really feel that. I really feel that, like, coming back with this mentality of, like, I don't want the old normal. I want a new normal. I want a better normal has really helped me. All right, Mary Jane, I'm pulling a card for you around your deer in headlights feelings about your photography things heating up, which I'm so proud of you, by the way. It's been so cool. It's been so cool in the Firestarters group to watch you kind of go from like, oh, this is cool, I enjoy taking these kind of weird, spooky photos with my phone, to like showing in galleries. It's so, it's just so amazing to watch your glow up. It's so cool. It's so inspiring to me. All right, we have the Seven of Wands. Let's talk about power and let's talk about you and your relationship to power. Because art and creation, as you know, is a form of power. It's one of those weird, subtle forms of power, though. It's like if you're a D&D player like me, it's like having a high charisma score, right? If as a bard in D&D, I'm very good at persuading people. So D&D being Dungeons and Dragons, I know I'm a super nerd. Art is like that. Art means that we have a power that is more subtle, that is almost more about feelings than facts, right? Where we can influence. And it doesn't always mean influence in the way we think about like social media influencers or political influencers. It could mean we influence people's feelings. It could mean we influence their moods. It could mean that they see or hear something we created as a creator and it just subtly changes the trajectory of their life, or perhaps dramatically, because it makes them think about their lives in a new way. And that's power. And I want you to not earn, you've earned it. I want you to own that power. I want you to step into it because it's perhaps a different type of power than society values, in part because it's a little bit enigmatic and elusive, right? It's hard to cultivate. We cultivate it with a creative practice and we cultivate it by continuing to show up authentically. And that's a bit of a chaotic path. It's not like there's a set of steps we follow necessarily. So I really want you to experience this time as a growing of expressing your power and what that feels like for you and what it's like to learn that you have perhaps a little more influence in the world than you thought you did. And I hear you saying that you're starting to have some happenings that are significant and you feel like a deer in headlights, and I encourage you to approach it with that sort of meditative feeling of learning. And the blinders I'm asking you to take off is the lie that this is just luck and I'm not anything special and this is stuff that happens to me that I have no agency over. I want you instead to replace them with, maybe I have power to change things in my life. Maybe I have power to influence other people, and I am seeing expressions of it. And this is where we start to get into facts and feelings, because once you get enough evidence of how you make people feel, we come back around to facts. We come back around to like, okay, we've applied a little bit of, statistical research and learned that you are routinely good at this. That this is something that routinely you are getting some acknowledgement and accolades for. And it might just be time for you to revise your vision of who you are and what you're great at and what you're capable of. It might be time for you to expand that. And that's always feels challenging. It's funny how even the good change makes us feel crazy. But I encourage you to approach it that way. Like, let it be a meditation of you going like, what is my power? Maybe I don't know it as intimately as I thought. Maybe I have more than I believed. Maybe it's a different shape than I believed. Maybe it is changing and evolving as everything does. Let it be an exploration tour for you. Instead of feeling like, oh God, now I think sometimes we feel like, oh, something has happened and now I have a responsibility to respond to it in the right way or to follow up in the right way. There's a lot of pressure in the artistic community to follow up your success. And I encourage you to just look around you and thoroughly sink into the ride and enjoy the journey and assume that you will continue to the next destination as you did here. Mary Jane says, I feel like a witch on fire when taking pictures. A good thing. Yes. It feels crazy. Yes, I love it. And Andine says from before, it's key to be around people and places that value us. Yes, it is. And if we're used to, and I know that you have a little bit of this double life syndrome that a lot of artists do, Mary Jane, where you spend much of your day with people who don't value that side of you or don't perhaps even know that side of you. And then have this other side, and that's like almost putting a mask on every day, right? So it's hard to believe it when people do value this side of you and people value you as the artist. So anyway, all I really have to say about that is look and listen. Look, listen, and learn. You know, there's more to understand about it than you previously thought. The world is bigger for you than you thought it was. Congratulations. Anna says, Virgos create their own worlds to live in. Big mood. And also says Gemini moment, earn/own. Oh, that's really interesting. I'm gonna think about that. All right, Judith, I'm going to pull a card for you after that Grayson, and then I'll check and see who else is on deck. Don't worry, I got you. If you've dropped a cat, I got you. At least I got you for the next 17 minutes. So I'm going to try and pick up the pace a little bit. Because some Saturdays I can go a little longer. This is not one of those Saturdays. As the summer gets busier and busier, I have to be more of a, I have to be the schedule police. I have to be strict with myself. All right, Judith, I'm shuffling for you right now, my dear. I just thank you all for being a part of this and being a part of my growth every week, showing up and having this conversation with you. What a Gemini experience, actually. Showing up and exchanging ideas with you every week has been really meaningful to me and really helped me on my path. So thank you. Judith, my queen, we have the High Priestess, baby. Talk about a master manifester, and particularly a very deeply spiritually connected manifester. The High Priestess is not the manifester who's like, oh yes, if you can imagine it, you can have it. Like, I want a red Corvette. The High Priestess goes deeper because the High Priestess combines the power to create with this unerring, intimate self-knowledge and intimate facing of both facts and feelings, of like facing of the world around us and what it truly, truly needs and what our role truly is. You could say that the High Priestess is more holistic in her view than, for example, the Magician, who is a great manifester, and perhaps is at the stage of manifestation where it's like, you know, getting from point A to point B, getting from I don't have this to I have this, right? And the Magician is a wonderful practical manifester and very good at being like, okay, here's what I've got at my disposal. How do I turn this into this? That's alchemy. That's big mood. And the High Priestess takes it a level deeper and goes, how do I turn this into this? And what does it mean to me? And what's the truth about the destination? And how does it exist in the bigger picture of who I am in the current paradigm that I live in, and how I like serve my life's purpose? And how I live, if you can handle this word, righteously. What does it mean to righteously honor myself and to righteously honor others, to righteously honor this world that I'm in and try to leave it a better place and try to walk that line of approaching your own self and your own needs as deeply sacred, while also approaching the call to service as deeply sacred, you know, that balance. So, wow, that's a lot of deep stuff. I know what you're working on right now in the manifesting challenge, both in a very practical way and I think in a very personal and long time coming kind of way, as you've been searching for your purpose at this moment in your life. So, man, High Priestess, good vibes. Keep going. Keep creating. Don't be afraid to do it intuitively. Magic Lavender Witch, hello, I see your cat. Okay, I'm going to pull a card for you, Grayson, then I'm going to take a look at everyone else who has dropped a cat. Hey, Instagram friends, if any of you dropped a cat and I didn't see it, could you just drop that cat again? It sounds so morbid. If you put a cat in the chat and I didn't see it, could you just let me know? I know I saw Chaka, and I didn't see a cat from you, Chaka, so let me know if you would like me to pull a card for you, because I'm happy to. I don't think I saw anyone else on Instagram asking, but I want to make sure. Okay. Magic Lavender Witch. That's you, Savannah, right? Do I have that right? I'm like, I know that's someone I know. Oh, no, man. Okay, we're getting reversals in this reading because I have not been paying attention to my shuffling. You know my take on reversals, or you might, which is that I don't deliberately shuffle reversals into my readings. It doesn't mean I don't read reversals. It means that when a reversal comes up, there's really a reason that that card got reversed. You know, again, perhaps subconsciously or whatever you want to choose to pin on it. But it looks like we're reading with reversals today because I have been an inattentive shuffler. But I tend to assume that that's for our highest good. Anyway, it is you. Okay, it is you, Savannah. Hi, Savannah. I told you this the other day. I love when Savannah joins any live stream because the energy is just like, you just bring the energy right up. I just love it. Okay. Gray Sun. Here is your card. It is the Four of Wands and it is reversed. What is making you feel like you can't celebrate yourself right now? You just achieved a goal. It's really cool, actually. Talk about having a manifesting moment. You just achieved, like, getting this job that, in my opinion, is such a super cool, good fit for you. I know you're having other, I know there are other things moving in your life that, in my opinion, as an outsider, seem to be moving in a really positive direction. So my question is, what is it that's making you feel like you can't acknowledge these accomplishments? I'm going to throw this right back at you and ask a deeper question, which is, why do you have a hard time celebrating yourself? And if that's like a harsh question, I'm sorry. And my invitation to you is to explore what it feels like to start to celebrate yourself a little bit and explore what comes up. That's the kind of shadow work that happens when we start to get success, is we start to realize our like shame triggers and our fear of bigness triggers and all of that kind of stuff, and imposter syndrome and everything. And it's just like this naturally occurring shadow work that happens as we grow and expand. And that's your task right now, is to learn, because you deserve it, how to celebrate yourself. Because I feel like there's this sense of you actually deserving accolades and hitting milestones that are meaningful and important, and not giving yourself the credit where credit is due, not taking a moment to just appreciate yourself and appreciate all that you have put in into both bettering your life and bettering the lives of others. And I'm asking you why. And the way to find that out, honestly, is to say, okay, what would it look like to celebrate myself? Give it a go and see what the hell comes up. So there you go. Four of Wands reversed. All right, let me take a look here in my comments and see who else I'm pulling cards for today. I've only got 10 minutes left, so this might be lightning round kind of thing. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in every week. Thank you for being a part of this journey with me. It means so much to me. Okay, let's see. Here's us talking about the, as we discussed, friggin' wacky lunar eclipse. Okay, Anna gave me a meow. Anna, Olivia, Artie. Who else? Is there anyone else? And Savannah. Anna, Olivia, Artie, Savannah. Great. Lightning round. All right, that's who I have left. That's probably the only people I will get to. Hopefully we don't get anyone cruising in the next 10 minutes, but you know, whatever. It's all good. I love that people come to the Witchy Weather Report every week. I was reflecting that this week I didn't do a great job of promoting it. I usually do like an event and I do a couple posts ahead of time, and this week I'm just like, honestly, I'm just like stumbling through my life like, oh, let me meet my commitments. I'm trying so hard. And I was like, you know, maybe it's good that you didn't promote it. It's okay to have a quiet week, because this is just a piece of my journey right now. And maybe a quiet Witchy Weather Report is just the right one. And I have to say, I've been like, the conversations we've been having today have given me so much to think about, that I feel really grateful that it's exactly this group of people. You know, I feel like it is exactly right. Oh, thank you so much. Mary Jane says, thanks for this every week. You're the best. Thank you. No, you are the best. I already forgot everything. Anna, I'm pulling a card for you right now. Anna, Olivia, Artie, Savannah. Artie, it's one of those weird names that I have a friend whose name was Arti, like the Indian version of the name Aarti, who said people always call her Artie, and she didn't like it, and she's like, it's with a T, not a D. But I think when people say Art or like the male name Art or Artie, people usually do say it like Artie. I don't know. How do you like your name to be said? I'm overthinking it. And I'm pulling a card for you right now. Here is your card. Artie, Arthur, or RT. Oh, RT. That's clever. I like it. All right, Anna, here's your card. It's the Ace of Swords, baby. What else do you want in life? And I do remember you requesting a pull around like relationship stuff. And I think your exact words were like, "How do I not lose my mind and kill my partner this week?" or something like that last week. And I remember the card being about leadership. I think it was the king of the emperor, the king of wands, or something like that. You know, being called to that kind of leadership. And anyway, you've got the Ace of Swords. So if you've been having challenges with communication, this week is the breakthrough that you need to understand, like what's the magic switch that needs to be changed. Usually that's a perspective shift of like, oh, I never thought about it this way, I guess I could approach it like this, and then everything gets recontextualized. So I don't want you to put pressure on yourself to have an epiphany. I want you to just know that it is coming and be open to it. Sometimes that's the hardest thing, for us to be open to the idea that our lives might change for the better. Sometimes it's a protective measure, I think, that our brains do, of we kind of confirmation bias ourselves into pretending that pessimism is being realistic. No, pessimism is pessimism. Being realistic, I mean, at best it's like having an open mind. So I want you to be open to the idea that a breakthrough is coming. Everything is going to be recontextualized. You're going to find ways to communicate and to allow your truth to flourish alongside other truths of those who are important to you this week. It's coming. Olivia, I'm pulling a card for you right now. You're welcome. Olivia, your card is the Four of Wands, not reversed, but upright. Let's talk about you. I actually remember having a little bit of a conversation about this with you in person the other day. Let's talk about you acknowledging what you have created and creating your own individual personal milestones to celebrate yourself and to celebrate what you've put into this world, what you have gifted others with just by being you. Again, we have wands, so this is about creativity and about those indefinable qualities like charisma and like influencing, which I have to let you know, by the way, because I realize it's important to give compliments to people that are about more than just superficial things. I don't know if you know it, but you're a very charismatic person, Olivia. And the Four of Wands indicates that it is a good time to take a pause and celebrate. And you literally just aided in abetting some pausing and celebrating. And I encourage you, with this card coming up for you right now, to find a way to connoiter a celebration of yourself and celebration of how far you have come to create your own milestone celebration. To do some looking back and to see how you have grown in the last year, couple of years, 6 months, whatever. And identify some of those ways. Identify some of the ways that you are now a changed person and you have a greater impact in the world and you have grown and leveled up. And to celebrate, like to find a way to celebrate, whether it's like through creating a celebratory piece of art or, I don't know, buying yourself a friggin' cake and a bottle of wine or whatever. This is an opportunity for you to, rather than continue to push, because you're always trying your best, you're always trying very hard to create light in the world, instead to just celebrate all that you've already created, just to honor yourself. Olivia says, damn wands, always with the wands. All right. Artie, this is for you. Artie, RT, Arthur. What do you prefer? What's your fave? Do you have a fave? Oh my gosh, Olivia says, or a Frida Kahlo dress, because that's almost here. That sounds amazing. But I encourage you to ritualize that. I want to tell people, treat yourself is a really good piece of advice. But I want to remind you that capitalism tells us that treating ourselves is buying ourselves something. And I'm here to tell you there's more to it. And buying ourselves something is a valid way to treat ourselves. But we have to both do the thing and enjoy the thing. right? Like treating ourselves by getting something, acquiring something, and then rushing on to our next goal is not a treat. We need to give ourselves to enjoy it. We need to give ourselves space to just love the heck out of what we have brought into our own lives. So I hope you do that. I hope you kind of ritualize it and make it really fun and give yourself a chance to really fully experience that Frida Kahlo dress. Artie, this card is for you. Here it is. It is the Ace of Cups reversed. Now I have challenging questions for you. And my challenging question is, what is blocking you from feeling free and safe emotionally? What is it that is making you feel that you have to hold back, that you can't quite let go? Is it a self-esteem thing? Is it a thing where to feel truly free and to feel truly like, you can say what's on your mind and be accepted for who you are? Is it the feeling that, oh, who I am is not really acceptable and so I can't do that? Is it a feeling that that might not be okay, that might be somehow against some kind of unwritten rules? Is it the feeling that things need to be in place in some sort of magical particular way in order for you to have that feeling? Sometimes people approach, it's not just love, but emotions like love and breakthrough, those big special moments in life. Sometimes they externalize them. People treat it like, oh, this is just something that happens to you and you hope it does, right? Like you fall in love, like, whoops, I fell, I tripped and I stumbled and here I am. And you get lucky and you, like all of these phrases that we use to describe this stuff are very external, and it implies that we have no internal locus of control, right? It implies that like, oh, we just hope we're going to have a good time in this life. I don't know, cross your fingers. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be that way, that we don't have complete control over our situation, but there are things we can do it comes back to facts versus feelings, right? To help ourselves feel good in our lives. And if you're feeling like you're blocked from feeling kind of truly free, truly yourself, truly able to express yourself in the biggest way that you can, if you're feeling blocked, I'm here to tell you that you don't have to just sit and hope it gets better. You can, the biggest thing is to ask yourself, what is it that I fear would happen if I said out loud this thing I've been feeling and carrying in my heart? What is it that makes me feel, guilty or wary, of giving voice to what's really been affecting me? Or do I feel that I can't give voice to it? Is that the challenge, right? Artie says he doesn't have a favorite. Call him whatever you want. All right, I won't call you late for dinner though. So these are my questions for you. And I want to let you know that the Ace of Cups reversed indicates that there is a chance for this beautiful emotional renewal for you. There is an opportunity for you right now at this moment in your life to have that kind of an emotional experience of just feeling truly free, truly loved, truly accepted for who you are. And if you're not feeling it, this is important. This is not me blaming you. This is just me letting you know that there is something blocking you, but you have the capacity within yourself to unblock it. You have the capacity to access and reach this point of feeling this true love and acceptance. So I hope that you dig a little deeper into that because you deserve that. Judith says, I was already in a band called Late for Dinner. Great band name. I absolutely love it. Okay, this is my final card. This is for you, Savannah. I'm shuffling for you, my dear. Wow, big mood, big energy, this, which doesn't surprise me. We just had the friggin' wacky eclipse. So much going on for all of us. My friend Patty Bell, who maybe you're watching the replay of, so hi Patty Bell. My friend Patty Bell was saying that there is a gateway available right now, and she's like, I feel it, I'm in the gateway, I'm having a gateway moment, and I really do feel like that's the potential for this energy right now. You're welcome. Okay, Savannah, here is your card. Your card is the Five of Coins. This card encourages you to look at the bigger picture. It's very important, especially if the smaller picture is making you feel very anxious right now, Five of Coins often does relate directly to finances. If not finances, then very practical resources. You know, the ability to have a roof over your head, the ability to put foods on the table, the ability to, again, we come back to feelings being of value, the ability to get through your day without feeling high anxiety because you have an environment that supports you rather than depletes you. Those are basic needs. I consider them all to be basic needs. And you may be facing a situation where you are uncertain of how to continue to meet all those needs, or perhaps you feel you can meet one or two at the expense of another. And I'm here to tell you, for starters, that you don't have to do it alone. The Five of Coins is always a reminder that there is help accessible to us. And usually what blocks us from receiving that help is either like some type of pride, the feeling like I should be able to do this for myself, you know, whatever. Which is kind of a false feeling that actually is a little bit of self-betrayal, right? To feel that like, oh, everyone else deserves help, but I should be able to figure it out alone. That's both, there's ego in that and there's self-defeat in that. It's really interesting. So I'm here to tell you that you don't have to do it alone, that you have access to the same type of help and generosity and kindness that you would freely and lovingly give to another person. And I know you would. When I talk about your good energy, that's what I'm talking about. You're very emotionally generous. You show up and you really bring light into whatever room you're in. And I encourage you to open yourself to receiving that kind of generosity that you put out very naturally, or perhaps it doesn't come naturally to you. I don't know. It appears to, that you put out every day. Open yourself to receiving help. Open yourself even to receiving help that seems too big or too much. There's no such thing. And I'm here to remind you, because I know you know it, that giving is a gift. When you give generously, when you help someone, when you, throw someone a bone in a way that like means a lot to them and it was very easy for you, it feels so good. It feels great to be able to help someone out. It feels great to be able to be a force of good in the world. And I encourage you to give that gift to others and allow yourself to be helped. I also encourage you to look at the bigger picture because that's going to help you a lot. The Five of Coins, that's really a big focus in this deck of the Five of Coins, is rising up and looking this from your very highest self, rather than in the mud. Because when we feel like we're in the mud, when we're like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this mud, all we can see is mud. And in reality, we might be in a very small mud puddle, right? And it might be just fine in like 10 minutes even, you know, but we don't know because all we can see is friggin' mud and it's kind of mucking up our perception. So I encourage you to look at the bigger picture and remind yourself of times when you have been through something similar and gotten out, and how almost like instantaneously your life can change, because it can change just as easily and just as instantaneously. Cool. Savannah says, yeah, this is resonating with me. So difficult to receive good things. I've been dealing with anxiety. Big feels. I both have no idea because I'm not you and I can't presume to know your experience. But as someone who definitely deals with anxiety, the anxious person in me bows to the anxious person in you. It's okay. I honor you and your anxiety. All right. All right, my dears. This is it for the Witchy Weather Report. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for spending this time with me. It means so much to me that we do this every week. Make sure you come back at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time, and 4 p.m. British Summer Time next week for more witchy weather goodness. Also, if you haven't joined the Manifesting Challenge, please join it. It's on all of my social media channels. You can see the kickoff live stream. You can also see me posting about it. I also did like a patron blog post, but it was open to the public. The kickoff post was open to everyone. It's on Patreon, patreon.com/Sassafras Tarot. But it is an open post inviting you to kick off your, manifestation. So you have resources to start. Don't feel that if you missed the kickoff, you can't join. Join. I want you. I want you in. And know that I'll be doing a manifestation challenge check-in on Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So mark your calendars. All right. Thank you so much, my loves. If you enjoyed this, I always forget to say this. If you enjoy this, I do have a virtual tip jar. Tips are appreciated, absolutely never expected. It's Venmo at Rory Kelly, RORIEKELLY. I think it might be like cruising around in the ticker there, or in the title if you're on Instagram. And I do offer readings. If anyone needs some guidance during this friggin' wacky eclipse time, make sure you use your 10% off code. If you go to my Etsy shop, it's etsy.com/shop/Sassafras Tarot. Put in the words Witchy Weather Report, all one word, and you get 10% off of anything you want. Make sure you get your discount. Okay, that's all. Have a wonderful, continue to enjoy the wacky big feelings that come with learning and growth. Until next time, my friends. Meow Maste.